One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads, feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They're telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Don't let it get the most of me. Eventually, I'm gonna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free. Let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I told them take their aim off me. Stop trying to get a name off me. If they would just let me be, I'm gonna be free. I told them take some chains off me and throw away the locks and keys. If they would just let me be, eventually I'm gonna be free. Free.
They're back.
What up, though? What up, though? 7 days. We're back again for another episode of Dominant Effect. I'm Archbishop. We got Mike Ball. How's everybody doing tonight? I'm glad everybody took their time to sit back and watch another one of our stories that we're about to put out. Before we get started, everybody hit that like button so we can get this out on the proper algorithm and get this flowing the way it should be. But right now, the United States has issued a warning to Iran and promptly to comply or risk having your power grids wiped out. Iran's response was that they wasn't backing down, and they're threatening to hit power stations across multiple regions. But while the world is focused on that, there's another country that's also in the dark, and that's Cuba. No fuel, no consistent power, water systems are failing, and people are being pushed on the edge just trying to survive. So the real question is, are we watching two separate crises, or is it the same strategy being played in two different places? So we're going to talk about both of these issues tonight on the Dominant Effect. So we're going to go in first talking about this 48-hour warning. And what we're looking at right now is a classic example of like a what you call coercive diplomacy, not democracy. And that's when a country, in this case, the United States, issues a clear demand with a short deadline, backed by a threat of force, but without immediately using that force. And the idea for that is to create urgency, limit the other side's options, and force a decision under pressure to either make a deal or something that's going to happen. Now, when you hear that 48 hours, that's not random. That's a kind of a short window, usually signaling one or two things. Either the U.S. believes Iran is close to a critical milestone, likely tied to some kind of nuclear development or enrichment levels, or it's a psychological move meant to show dominance and control of the timeline of these events. So Iran's nuclear program has been a long-standing issue. The concern isn't just whether they could build a weapon, but how fast it could reach to a point that they could build one quickly. And that's called basically a blackout capability. So what that really means is that the U.S. isn't just reacting to what Iran has, but it's reacting to how close they are to the point of no return. Now, they gave this 48-hour notice, and after that 48 hours was up, then you had the president who came out and said, no, we're going to give it another 5 days because we're in the process of having some kind of negotiations, and we're going to see how these negotiations pan out. And once he said that, of course, certain things happened. Number one, gas prices dropped.
Right. Oil went down by 5%, but it's going to go right back up once they realize, oh, we're continuing this war. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. And that's exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But then you had Iran that come out and said, no, we're not in no kind of negotiations. We're not talking to anyone. So I got a quick little video that we're going to pop up. Is us just basically talking about their end of it once this so-called negotiation part popped out, and what their reply was dealing with that. Let me see what we got here.
Breaking news to bring you now from Iran. The Speaker of the country's parliament has directly contradicted US claims that he's been negotiating with them. Mohammed Bagher Ghalibaf posted this on X in the last hour. Our people demand complete and remorseful punishment for the aggressors. All officials stand firmly behind their leader and people until this goal is achieved. No negotiations have been held with the US fake news. Fake news is to manipulate the financial and oil markets and escape the quagmire in which the US and Israel are trapped.
Now, Iran's response is less about immediate action, but more or less a strategic signaling that you could say.
Yep. And they know they can't win on a full-blown war scale, but what they can do right now is they can make this shit way too expensive to do. And exactly. The way that they're prolonging this and the way that they're shutting down shit, yeah, they have a little bit more power than we thought.
Mm-hmm. So when Iran says that it can hit these power stations in multiple countries, even mentioning places like Europe, that's not necessarily about accuracy. It's more about expanding that fear zone that they could hit somewhere else. They were talking about having long range missiles to where they could hit London and Paris, which hasn't been proven, but
they claim that they can get into Europe, right?
Right. Because once you start mentioning Europe as part of this conversation, then a lot of this stuff changes.
Right. Now they start to care, you know? So
Now we're going to actually talk about the real capabilities here, because Iran has built a serious missiles program over the years that we've talked about before, and they do have ballistic missiles, which is long range. A lot of them fast because they got hypersonics that's capable of reaching Mach 15.
Yeah, the hypersonic program and ballistic missile program they particularly have is the number one in the world.
Right. And they also have cruise missiles. They also have drones, which they've used a lot doing this. And I've even seen videos where it was showing how they were able to launch a lot of these missiles, and they were literally coming from out the ground. Like a flap pops up out the ground and the missiles just take off. So a lot of their missile stations and stuff like that is all underground.
Right.
And
they also have the trucks too, where they go down underground, you know, as well, and then they bring the missile launchers back up, and then they shoot them off real quick, and then go right back down. So there's a whole bunch on top of the shooting from the ground as well, which is something that I didn't even know until recent that they did that.
Yeah, when I seen those videos the other day, I was like, wow, I didn't know. I did know that a lot of their stuff were underground. We had showed videos where it had showed a lot of their where they were bringing their planes and all that stuff is going underground. They had underground paths that they would just, like, the side of the mountain would like open up.
But launching from the bottom, though, launching from underground is pretty hardcore.
Right. And, you know, they done that simply because, number one, to hide.
Well, yeah.
So you didn't know what they actually had. And two, you know, I mean, it's harder for you to destroy something that you can't see.
Well, the way that they look at it is, well, if our opposition, our enemy, owns the skies, you have no other choice but to go underground.
Now, they also operate through a network of aligned groups. So you have Hezbollah that's over in Lebanon. You have the militias that's over in Iraq and Syria. And then you have the Houthis over in Yemen,
which have not yet got themselves involved yet. But if they do, it's going to be hell for especially oil, because there's a strait over there in Iran, which is the Strait of Hormuz. And then you have the other strait that I can't pronounce. That's right there by Yemen, right there where the Houthis run that shit. And if they decide to get themselves involved and shut down that strait, which, I mean, they don't have mine capabilities and stuff like that, but they absolutely can launch some shit into the ocean like that right there in that strait. I shouldn't even say ocean. It's in the strait. Anyways.
Yeah, I've seen a couple videos the other day where they were talking about ways of trying to go around the strait, and they were talking about how they could basically do one like in this other area that wasn't actually in the strait, but go around. And you thinking, you're looking at that, and you're like, hold on, that's not nothing that you can do right now. That's a long term. That's a long term issue. You know what I mean?
Right. This is not. We're looking for what we can do today and tomorrow to like kind of fix this, and that's not one of them.
Right. And you see, they also started putting out a toll. So like China, for instance, they've been paying like up to $2 million.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Freely through the straits.
Well, so and that makes sense because Iran is basically, they're handpicking. When they say partial closure, that's not even true. It's fully closed to Iran. That's the way they look at it. That's the way they've announced it. It's fully closed unless we clear those people. If we, you know, these are Iranian ships or we have something going in and out of Iran, we'll let that come through. But if it's anything else, yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that China was paying.
Yeah,
that's
they were paying, and they were saying that during this time, since they started doing that Iran has been pocketing basically $50 million a day. Damn, from the ones that's been paying, they've been paying the fee to go through.
Well, when they listen, they don't want to have $7 gas prices either.
Right, you know, and so this is basically for India, China, Russia's been paying, but then they have a list of of countries that basically are backed by the U.S. So they're like, no, you ain't coming. So
That's right.
So Britain, the U.S.,
F you,
UK, all
F
them, yeah,
you, F
right,
you, F you. You're cool. F you. You know,
right,
that's exactly
right.
what's
Ain't none of
happening.
them, right? Ain't none of them using it. So they've been canceling out all of that. You know what I mean? And so right now, you really are at a dilemma, okay? Because the U.S. we only get like 1% from there, so technically we don't even need it from there. And being the fact that we're doing what we're doing over in Venezuela, even though it's heavy crude, they can still use it over here. So they're not even worried about that on this end, which is kind of crazy because if we're only getting 1% from over there, and you bringing oil in from Venezuela, why is our gas prices still going up as high as it's
because
going?
we're realistically we're selling that oil instead of refining it ourselves.
Exactly, because everything's running through OPEC, and when OPEC raise the prices, then it raises up the prices worldwide.
That's right. Yep.
You know what I mean? Unless you completely shut yourself out of OPEC, and then you can go through and do that. But being the fact
no
that
one's going to do that,
right? And we're only getting 1% from there, but we're getting oil from other places that's coming there. And they also said that there was a shortage around the world now for like fertilizer, helium, because a lot of that comes from there as well. And they also having a huge natural gas shortage.
Yep.
Over there.
I have also heard that.
You know, but when we was talking about this natural gas shortage, though, it was one thing that I'd seen the other day that I really didn't understand. You know who the biggest supplier of natural gas is in the world?
Natural gas in particular?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's the U.S.
Okay, interesting.
Now, but here's the thing, though. So we are the biggest supplier of natural gas around the globe. Now, they had did a lot of these different agreements or whatever. So the actual ships that carried the natural gas to these different countries, not one of them are American-made ships. None of them.
Well, we almost barely. I mean, the ones that we do have now. I mean, listen, you should look at them. They're an embarrassment for America. I mean, they're old, they're rusty, they're fucked up, they're not maintained properly. It's a joke. Most of these countries, even ourselves, our own industry will go ahead and get a Singaporean ship, register it in Singapore, and then sail from there under the Singaporean flag, but staff the entire ship with the officers, third mates, and higher with U.S. people, and then the rest of them are Filipino or Indian or whatever.
Right. Now, the crazy part about that is that being the fact that we are the number one supplier of natural gas, and we don't have, the U.S. doesn't have its own ships to be able to transport natural gas itself. So like up in the upper regions of the U.S., like Maine, New Hampshire, and all them that actually need natural gas, they have to get it from the ships.
Are you serious?
Yes. So
are you serious?
Yes. So they have to pay to have the natural gas put in when the U.S. is actually the number one producer of natural gas. But being the fact that we don't own our own ships, you have to turn around and buy it to come back for it to be in these upper regions. I'm going to
pull this up. I'm going to pull this up for you, something super interesting. And the only reason why I know about this stuff is because of the job that I was doing prior to me losing my leg. So this is the pipeline, underground pipeline of natural gas, which is what you see there is blue. That's natural gas pipelines underneath. And then the red is hazardous liquids such as crude oil, heavy fuel oils, black oil. That's where the red is being transported from. But yeah, look at that shit though. And there's only one main artery going into Maine. Well, I shouldn't even say an artery. I should say a branch of the artery at the very top there. So yeah, that's crazy. But look how gnarly that is. That's a lot of pipeline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy how they do that. You would think after all these years why they would do it, but then they would start talking about the prices of these ships because they were like, well, you can buy a ship over here and pay, $1 million, 2 million for the ship, but if you get one over here, it's actually 2-3 billion. So they're not going to pay it. They'd rather do it.
Well, it's not just that, but it's taxes. Most of these companies are looking for, because the biggest cost for any of these ships is, of course, going to be material. But yeah, that's they are just escaping tax and certain laws that they get around to where they're not paying all these red tape shit to get through. They don't, for instance, Singapore is one of them. United States companies use Singapore all day long to build ships there and then fucking man them with U.S. people.
Mm-hmm. Now I've seen over the past couple of days where they were talking about, at first they were talking about they wasn't going to put boots on the ground there. We talked about the reason why that would be a bad idea. And
it's still a bad idea.
It's still a bad idea. And now they're saying that they're sending, was it 4,000 or 5,000?
They sent the 82nd. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And they also have Marines that's on their way. Of course, they're on amphibs, so they coming through across the ocean. So it's going to take a little bit longer for them to get there. But then they was also talking about, what we were talking about last week about once they got there, what's going to actually happen. Now, are they actually going to step foot in Iran, or are they going to go over to this island that they were talking about, and to where they still had presence there? Because one of the guys that I was listening to was talking, and they were saying that it's not about them, meaning Iran, dealing with the oil itself. It's more or less about the presence of the U.S. being there, specifically because of the petrodollar. And that if they don't have some kind of control over there, then you basically wipe yourself out over there, and you would pay for it on this end. The dollar would drop, and you would be in more trouble for just walking away, as opposed to you doing what you're doing now.
Well, I can go ahead and show you real quick. So on this line or this map here, let me pull this up. Okay, boom. So this is the strait as we all know it to be. This is the what we call the bottleneck, the choke point. And people are like, well, how can they shut down the strait, blah, blah, blah. Well, not only can they lay mines within all of this shit, but this is all of Iran. This is their coast right here. This is all of it. So they can set up all these missiles, missile launchers, all that shit, where they bring them out from underground. They go right along the coast, and they can hit anything and pinpoint this entire choke. No matter, it's pretty easy for them. Now, the whole point why I show you this is the reason why they're going to do boots on the ground. And I'm going to tell you what I truly, truly believe from just analyzing this war is that it's to open up the strait, right? And Karg Island, because you mentioned Karg Island's all the way right up here, very, very north part of the Persian Gulf. Now, yes, is that something that is a huge strategy for us if we ever needed to use that level of force where we take out their this is where 90% or 80%, I think it's 90% of all oil from Iran is processed here and then sent back. So that's why it's a crucial thing. But if you take out energy resources to that level, now we're talking a whole different bracket to the war, right? So, but anyways, the boots on the ground is going to happen right here. It's all going to happen right here. So just wanted to show that.
Okay. I see where you're at.
Sorry, I was circling with my mouse. See where the main city is here on the coast, Bandar or whatever. That whole area, all of this area is just going to be swamped with U.S. presence if we go ahead and do that. That's why Trump has sent over this 82nd Airborne or whatever, and then we have those guys are coming across the sea. They're basically preparing themselves on a timeline of when the Marines are going to show up or whatever.
Mm-hmm. They were. I'd seen the thing this morning, and they were talking about the briefings that the president gets every morning about what's going on over there. And they basically make, from what I heard this morning, was that they basically give him a 2 to 3 minute briefing, but it's like a video. And what they were saying was that it's what they're showing him is, planes taking off, they hitting different areas and stuff like that, but they're not showing him everything that's going on over there.
I believe that full face. I mean, all this stuff is not only propaganda against us, but propaganda against themselves. I mean, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And see, now you have Turkey, that is also a NATO member, that
but they like playing both sides of the fence, though.
Right. They've been burning both ends of the candle for a good while now.
Yes.
But they reached out. They've been reaching out to Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, basically telling them to just stay out of it. Don't get involved in none of it. And that they personally are not going to get involved in it because they're not going to fight Netanyahu's war.
Right.
So
that should have been our answer.
Right. And that's what a lot of them are saying right now. They're not. Now, of course, they're blaming Trump and Netanyahu,
of course,
because both of them are doing it. But they're categorizing this as being, this is Netanyahu's war.
Absolutely, it is. And that's why people like us are against it.
Right. And then they're saying, and because you all know that live in this area, you know the reason why they want to do this, because they want to be in control of this region. And they were saying that that was one of the reasons why they were trying to hit Iraq a while ago, because they was like, Iraq is what was keeping Iran at bay. So if you hit Iraq, then you would keep Iran at bay. Now you have them going after Iran. He says, so if you do that, then they could basically take over that whole section, which is not.
Yeah, but see, people don't know how these people are not thinking to that degree necessarily. I think most people are going to look at this like, okay, if we do this, how does it affect this? But you're not looking still at that full picture. If that happens, how does this affect this in a good, positive way, a negative way? Then what else does that affect? And it goes deeper than just one layer. I mean, it's multiple layers all the way down to the citizen.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, who's actually funding this war? It's the U.S. tax dollar. That's what's happening here. We're funding this shit right now.
Right. Just like we've been funding Israel. I mean,
absolutely, which is ridiculous.
I do think that even if they put those soldiers on that island and call themselves taking over that island, you basically a sitting duck on that island.
100%.
You know what I mean? Because they can just sit there and just launch missiles all day long on you.
Yep, and there ain't no Iron Dome right there. Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly why I also speculated when boots on the ground does happen, unfortunately, and I hate to say that because I truly don't want any boots on the ground. But when this happens, I don't think it's going to be on Carg Island. I think it's going to happen on the mainland, and that's a whole different ball game.
Right, because like you was talking about before, that's a very mountainous region. A lot of
people don't even understand what the actual climate and the way there's mountains, there's streams, you name it. There's all sorts of crazy shit there.
Right. Yeah, they were talking about that. A lot of those roads that go through there are usually like one and 2 lane roads. They're just going through. So if you do try to go through, then
yeah, good luck.
you basically
Meanwhile,
setting yourself
they
up.
can get you on a choke point all day long,
Right.
just like in the hood, just like in favelas in the South. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is.
Exactly. So it's a setup, just like it was.
It's a setup.
I mean, like some people would actually say, like in Vietnam, it's the same thing. I mean,
That's
you
exactly
coming
the
to
exact
somebody's
same
home,
comparison. Yep.
right? But you coming to somebody's home and you trying to do something that they know where all the points are. They know where you're going to come from. They know the only way that you're going to be able to get in is from this way. You're going to come in through Iraq. You're going to come in from over here. And if you do, then we're sitting there waiting on you. Just like the message that they put out the other day when they said that the 85th Airborne was on their way. And
82nd.
the one general was like, 86, sorry. And they said, okay, come closer. Like they begging you to do it because they know what's going to happen.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Now, it's like right now we're playing this cat and mouse game right now.
Totally.
But you're playing cat and mouse with soldiers. You know what I mean?
With human life at this
Right.
point. And this is our human life. This is not it'd be one thing again, like people ask me like, "Oh, you're just like this because blah 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 whatever about Israel." I'm like, "Listen, the truth is if Iran actually was an imminent actual threat to us, United States, and they were like, hey, we're going to fuck you up somehow because they can't even reach us. But let's just say that they could magically or something like that, and they were threatening us or something, then sure. All right, let's carpet bomb the shit out of them. But this is not our fucking war. So that's the part that I think a lot of Americans are having a problem with. I don't care what party you're in. It's a whole principle thing, like this is your war, and why are we about to do? I mean, why send the IDF to do that shit? Why does U.S. soldiers have to do that shit? Send the IDF. That's their war. So it doesn't make sense to me.
No, it don't. And you think that eventually, if you put boots on the ground, and this is just hypothetically speaking, if you put boots on the ground and you start sustaining losses, then the overall opinion from all of us is going to be negative, right?
Yes.
Because they're going to be like, why did you send our boys over there and women? Why did you send them over there to fight a war that had nothing to do with us whatsoever? Blah, 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 blah. You're going to have all that going on. Your ratings, your drop, everything's going to hit bottom. Now, I'm going to throw you a curveball. So, I've been seeing a lot of things here lately where they're talking about these false flag events that is basically they were saying that certain things was going to happen. They even named certain people that will be involved in certain things like that. That would basically, if something happened here on the mainland, that would, cause some kind of destruction to where you could say, okay, this was done by them, which in turn, just like 9/11, you had everything that happened in New York, and then the whole country rallied around, okay, let's go do this. You know what I mean? Now everybody's gun-ho about it.
Right. Even though when that whole thing with 9/11, for instance, we went into the wrong fucking country. Like, that's not even where we were supposed to be at. And everyone's like, fuck yeah, let's take them out. You know what I mean? You're not even in the right place.
Right. So now they're saying that if they did actually put boots on the ground and it started going bad, which everything that we've looked at shows that. You know what I mean? Hell, I don't work for CENTCOM, but I could sit here and look at this and tell you this is a bad idea.
100%.
You know what I mean? You're going to sustain losses. You're going to sustain a lot of losses.
Yes, you are.
So you're going to have to come up with something that's going to basically get the morale of the people for you to keep doing what it is that you're doing. Because now
that's why Trump's rhetoric is about like the whole like nuclear thing, and that's why there's catering to that. It's ironic that one of the main reasons why we got ourselves involved to an extent was the protesting and the riots that were happening there. Why we're not talking about that at all anymore, homie? We haven't even that. But that's one of the main that's one of the main reasons people, even Americans, were sitting there going, "Oh shit, this is getting fucking crazy over there." You know what I mean? And that kind of helped him in that regard. But now we don't even hear that rhetoric.
Now, even with that, was that our business?
No.
No, that ain't no different than all the protests that was going on here. Did we have other countries sending messages over like, yeah, go on protest, and if you do, then we're gonna come over and help you? No, they mount. You know what I mean? It's a certain time and place that people need to learn to mind their own damn business.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And that was one of them. What we doing right now, we should have just minded our damn business. You wouldn't have had this problem. You know what I mean? You wouldn't have had none of this stuff going on if we just stopped listening to people. You know what I mean? Stop listening to Jared Kushner and what's the name that sit over and lied, came over and told some lies to Trump to get him to go over and do it, along with Netanyahu sitting there pushing at him to come on and do this. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. You know what I mean? Now, what ended up happening out of here? You end up dropping the sanctions for Russia. Now, Russia making money hand over fist. You drop some of the sanctions for Iran. They making money. Now they got a toll booth out here, and they collecting $50 million a day.
I didn't even know that shit until you told me that.
People, you know what I mean? Just to come on through and get this money. You know what I mean? They were talking about the oil prices, which was a little crazy, because it was like the president came on, said, hey, we're going to do XYZ. We're going to stretch this out for 5 more days. And we're in negotiation, and the prices dropped. And then once they figured out that, no, that's not what's going to happen, the prices went back up. The thing is that a lot of people just so happened to buy a lot of oil right when they said that it was going to drop. Like they knew ahead of time that it was going to do it. You know what I mean? And then all of them
like
made
in
out
the middle in the middle of the speech level type shit.
Yeah, like everybody. What I seen this morning was they named off several. I should have wrote them all down, but they named off several that had went in and actually bought the oil right before he made the announcement.
Yeah, probably like 30 minutes before he comes walking out making the.
So they were saying a lot of like it's a lot of insider trading going on in here, because how did these people know that this is what you was going to do? And then they bought it. They bought it.
They're
low,
totally going to play that game.
Up. Oh yeah,
they're going to. They're. I mean, our administration is going to play that game as well. I mean, they're going to. Hey, listen, we're about to fuck these motherfuckers up. We just said that. You know, unfortunately, we thought it was going to probably be over, or whatever the case is, and now we got some crazy shit here. So, you know, just letting you know. Yeah, and I mean, that's how that. I mean, listen, we're talking about a billionaires class, trillionaire class. You know what I mean? Like on that company level. You know, of course, there's going to be some, you know, phone calls made.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That they've been.
I mean, I would do that for my homies. You know what I mean? Hey, homie, just letting you know.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would do it. A lot of people would do it, but it's illegal to do.
No, of course not. Of course not. But I can't say I wouldn't do it for my homies and in an everyday kind of lifestyle. I mean, I know I'm not president of the United States, but still, just saying.
Yeah, it's I'm tell you what, it's a lot of. Let's just be blunt about it. It's a lot of crooked shit.
100%. It's all corrupt.
A whole lot of crooked shit going on here.
It's all corrupt.
And like you said, people making billions of dollars off of this, but you got this group here that's making this money, and you got this group here that's gonna pay for it. And then you got this group here, which is our soldiers, our men and women that's out there fighting for this country, you know, that's gonna perish for somebody else to make a dollar. That's bullshit, especially when it has nothing to do with us. So we gotta so we're gonna keep watching that. You know what I mean? Like I said, every day is something different. You know what I mean? I'm just really looking to see where these troops are gonna end up. Are they gonna actually make it to Iran and be on actual ground in Iraq, or are they gonna pull this thing with this island? Because if they do this island, they'll sit and duck.
No, I think that would be a very dumb mistake.
I mean, if you drop them off if you fly by and pop them down off of shoot them off the planes and just have them parachute down, you still gonna lose.
It's a bad idea on both. Both on the mainland and on Carg Island. I think both are terrible options.
Right.
But yeah, if they do go to Carg Island, for instance, if they decide to go there, yeah, dude. I mean, I don't know why they would consolidate themselves into a literal target zone where it just takes a couple of missiles to take that shit out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You ain't got no Iron Dome over there right now, in that exact area. You're not going to be able to protect all that shit, even if you have an aircraft carrier there.
Right. Well, they did have the one, the Gerald Ford had it over there, and it took some hits, and then it also took. They said it was a fire that broke out in the laundry area. Now they're not saying that it was an actual missile hit. They're saying that it was someone that actually set a fire inside the carrier. That, but the damage was so significant that it would take probably 2 years for them to completely fix it.
Oh shit! That sounds like a fucking you got hit.
Right. Now they try to say that it was a fire, which. I
Listen,
don't know.
a lot of things, as you know, there's going to be a lot of sweeping underneath the rug kind of shit with certain things.
Exactly.
Like if their whole thing is like, well, we didn't lose any lives, so
Mm-hmm. Well, you did
because
lose
they got an unlimited budget, so it doesn't matter.
Right. Well, you did lose something that they didn't say anything about. You know what I mean?
Well, absolutely.
Because these numbers are gonna change eventually. You know what I mean? They ain't gonna keep. Well, I think it's like now 13 now, so that they're saying. But they was talking about this fire that happened in the laundry area. Now, those of you that's ever been in the Navy like myself, how carriers are set up, and they're set up to take hits, take on water, whatever, but you can close off sections to be able to still function.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So if you had a fire that was in the laundry area and you could close off sections,
right? You can contain
it, close off sections. How are you able to do so much damage that it's going to take 2 years to fix?
Yeah, no, that's cap.
Ain't buying it.
Here, I got the soundtrack for it.
Stop the cap.
Yeah.
It sounds like you got totally hit.
Yeah, that ain't ain't flying there.
Almost my entire house could catch on fire, and it ain't gonna take 2 years of repairs. So I'm just saying.
Now we're gonna keep on with this one. Keep figuring out everything that's going on.
We follow it every day over on Insane Wheels.
Right, and we're gonna keep popping it out. Now we're gonna jump over to this next section, which is Cuba and what's happening over there. And so while the world is kind of focused on, missiles and threats and everything that's going on in Iran, there's another situation that's unfolding that's a little bit closer to home, and that's Cuba. And this one doesn't look like a war, but the effects could still be just as devastating. So right now, Cuba is dealing with a multi-layered crisis. You got power grid failures, you got fuel shortages, you have water treatment plants that have shut down. Now they lost complete power, like the whole power grid. And
now, real quick, there's 9.6 to 11.2 million people estimated in Cuba. Dude, that's a lot of people condensed on that tiny island. You got, 10, 11 million people on that island? Holy shit, dude.
Now, with all the stuff that's going on in Cuba, now you've heard them talk about several times that the next stop that they were going to make was going to be in Cuba. And there's a lot of sanctions that's going on in Cuba. There's also the U.S. embargo that's going on in Cuba. So Cuba hasn't received like any kind of fuel in like 4 months. So when they started having these power outages and all that, so a lot of this stuff runs on generators, of course. They can't run. And then their electrical power grid infrastructure is like ancient.
But remember,
You know what I mean?
when you're running off of generators, what does it take? It takes diesel, gas, takes energy, resources, which they're
Right.
already limited on.
Right. Well, they're limited because they're not getting any ships in.
Exactly.
Because the embargo is keeping these ships away. You know, so basically what seems to me what's going on is that, you know, if you want to take this place over, sure you're gonna take it over. How are you gonna take it over though? Starve them out. They don't got no gas. They can't do nothing. They can't run the water treatment plants when the power grids go out. The power grid is ancient. I mean, it's ancient. And
I mean, probably worse than the United States. Our shit is from the 60s.
oh, it's way worse. Yeah, it's way worse. And being the fact that there's been so many sanctions on Cuba for so many years, they wasn't privy to a lot of the technology and stuff that you're able to use. So their stuff over there is beyond.
Yeah, that shit is ancient.
Right. So when it shuts down, it shuts down. So the whole island was in the dark.
Dude,
okay, so
11 million people. Imagine. Dude, imagine a city in the United States that got 11 million people and they went out full power. Dude, the entire world would be talking about that shit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But, oh, it's Cuba? Oh, fuck them.
Yeah, it's crazy because you have the so all the freezers, take this for instance, you got them stores probably bare all of a sudden. You know what I mean? You know, It ain't gonna take long. It ain't gonna take long for that, especially when you lose power. Everybody's gonna run and try to grab any and everything that they can possibly grab, which is one of the things that we've talked about several
Toilet
times.
Paper.
When we had Aaron on here, he talked about this stuff all the time.
Yep.
About what's going to go on. You know what I mean? The actual civil unrest. At first, you got those first 3 days.
We're not going to make it very quick. These people are in America, especially. Oh my God, these guys are not going to make it very long.
Right. So you have, like I said, you got the first 3 days. People are going to be rummaging, scrounging to get everything they can get their hands on, which they're already having shortages anyway because they didn't have gas from the beginning. They haven't had a fuel shipment there for, like I said, for almost 4 months. So they don't have gas anyway, you know, so they're already being very limited on what they're able to do. Then they started having kind of routine power outages, like it pop out, they get it back on. And then they had outages throughout the day that they were shutting power down to be able to try to keep it from going too much to where it overloaded the systems. So they were shutting the power down for a couple hours a day anyway. Now it's gotten to the point that it just completely blacked out the island. So what happens during this time? You know what I mean? You've already done killed those two right there. You got your water treatment plants that's not running. So I mean, you're not flushing the toilet. You're not getting water out of the sink. Sewage is backing up.
Now we have a sanitary problem.
Right. Now you got water contamination. You got disease outbreaks.
Yep.
You have a plethora of different. It's like one thing leads to the next, which leads to the next. You know what I mean? So if
it's
you
a
was
domino
actually going to
effect.
go, right. So could the administration itself say, you know what, release the embargo, get the gas over there? You know what I mean? Let them get this back together.
Mm-hmm.
They could, but they're not. They're letting them sit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And why are they letting them sit? Because if I let you sit long enough and you needy, then you're gonna do everything I tell you to do.
That's fact.
And that's exactly what they're doing. And that's wrong as hell. You know what I mean? To play with somebody's life like that. You know what I mean? You got 9 to 11 million people over there that you playing with their lives for your own gain. That's bullshit.
Political gain at that.
Yeah,
It's not even
bullshit.
like personal gain. Like you're really getting something really out of it. It's political,
Right.
geopolitics, man.
You know, and that stuff gets real serious because you got, like I said, you got the water treatment plants that rely on electricity. Then when the power fails, water stops working, all of that, you got contaminated water over there. You got a high risk of diseases from
inside their house.
right, because you're not able to flush your toilet. Where's that stuff going?
You
So
can't
it'll start flowing
even
in the street.
shower. You can't
Right.
clean yourself.
Right. You're gonna have people, defecating anywhere that they can.
In
You know what I
buckets
mean?
and shit in their house.
All over the place. So
just terrible.
you basically just causing a catastrophe there that you sitting back looking at this.
No, it's a humanitarian. It turned into a humanitarian crisis.
Right.
100%.
And you're not letting no other country come in there and help them. You know what I mean? Because they were showing ships that was going over there to try to give them aid, and they were blocking them off, telling them no, that you can't come over here. So they just letting them sit there. You know what I mean? That's bullshit. All because you want to take over something. That's not cool, man. You know what I mean? Now and then you pop in
terrible
like savior all of a sudden, like, yeah, okay, so long as you agree to my terms, yeah, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna do all this for you.
And of course they're gonna be like, dude, we have to do this just to survive. So of course we're gonna listen and give you your demand. You know? We're about to die here.
What about the hospitals?
Oh, dude. I can't even imagine.
You got no power, so you're running on generators. Now you have no gas. So the generators stop. You got people in ICU.
No, they're just dying probably left and right. I mean, that's speculation, but I'm just saying, totally.
Exactly. This is exactly what you having over there. This is a true humanitarian problem over there. That we're sitting there literally, 90 miles away from Key
Florida.
West to Cuba. It's like 90 miles away, and you literally sitting there watching them.
Yeah.
Suffer.
Lights out.
Just so you can have your way. That's inhumane to me.
It is. It is.
Yes, we gotta. It's So the U.S. has this long-standing economic sanction with Cuba. It's been that way for years.
It's been a long time, decades.
And like a lot of those restrictions, like limited access to the banking systems, made it harder for them to import fuel and equipment. A lot of trade they wasn't able to get, like car parts, stuff like that. I've seen programs a while ago where they were people got real savvy about that, where they were taking pieces from different cars, put them together to be able to make one car. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
it's like totally. Yep.
Right, because they wasn't able to get the actual parts that they needed.
Most people are driving around in serious hoopties over there. I mean, like shit from like way back. I mean, it's a trip too.
Right. So when you restrict a country's access to resources, you're not just pressuring the government. You're affecting the people that depend on those systems. So it's never been, you remember back during the Cuban Missile Crisis and all that, when you're dealing with Castro, and then you had Castro's brother that came in and all that. Okay. And then when Obama was in office, he actually lowered some of the restrictions, but then they ended up putting them back on. You know what I mean? Like they lowered these and picked these up over here. So then it seemed like everyone after that just kind of upped the ante a little bit, dealing with them until what you have right now. You know what I mean? So so we had Venezuela, we had you want to take Greenland, you want to make Canada 51st state, now you're messing with Cuba. You know what I mean? And Cuba just happened to be the lesser of all of them, because it's easier for you to take them, because all you got to do is just basically starve them out. And
just on a geographical level, it's already a humongous advantage. Yeah.
I mean, I could just imagine. I would really like to know what the actual counts are there, dealing with these blackouts and stuff like that. Now you can imagine, like at nighttime, people running around, they raiding, they looting people's houses, they searching and scrounging for everything that they can get their hands on. I mean, I'm sure that there's been a lot of casualties there just for that, this is kind of, if you think about it, this is a real life view as to what me, you, and Aaron have been talking about for months and months about getting ready and what could happen in a situation like this. This is a real view right now as exactly what could go on.
Look at this shit right here. As of late March 2026, a massive nationwide grid collapse has left nearly all of Cuba's 10 to 11 million residents without power. This marks the third total failure of the electronical grid in a single month, driven by fuel shortages and aging infrastructure. Wow. Just absolutely terrible, man. And I asked it currently, I mean, of course it gave me the main part, but I can't get an exact number of who is without power right now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is
like
crazy.
I see a message on there where someone said, "I'm sorry, but I don't feel bad for them, not the adults anyway. Maybe it's maybe the kids, they have their way. Russia would have had a missile 90 miles from us. How do you feel about that?" Well, I feel that don't have shit to do with what's going on right now. I mean, that's been the Cuban Missile Crisis. How long has that been?
Right.
I mean, that's something that you would use if you hold grudges. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like
well, they're not a true threat to us, actually.
Right. Have they been a threat to you since then? No, they haven't.
Right.
Now, have they been cool with Russia, letting them come over there and all that? Yep. Yeah, they sure have. They've been doing that, but hell, we do it too. You know what I mean? We just sit there and lifted all the sanctions. Right. We just sit there and lifted all the sanctions and let them make money hand over fist on this oil deal. You know what I mean? So you can't really use that. You know what I mean? And during that time, that was also during the Castro administration. You know what I mean? So no, I can't.
It's not relevant to today.
Right. What I'm saying, back then, yeah, you could talk about that. Right now, no.
But even if in today's technology and geographically, our power, even if they had missiles now, for instance, they still ain't a threat. Not anymore. Maybe they were at the time. I'm not speaking for that time. But nowadays, it'd be so easy to just take out the entire island.
Right. I mean, but think about that. I mean, like, even with that question right there, think about this. We're in Iran right now, supporting Israel, right? How many times has Israel came after the U.S. on different things? Several. How many actual naval ships has Israel hit? Quite a few. How many times has Netanyahu himself came on there and did interviews where he's blatantly saying that they're using the U.S. for their own gain? Several times. So this isn't just a thing that we can use and say, okay, well, these people did this back in the 60s and 70s, and this is why they deserve what's going on right now, when we sitting here actively supporting a group that has been against us from day one, and we still support them. So you really can't use that. But where we sitting at? Right at about an hour.
Yeah.
So we're going
perfect timing.
Yeah. So we're going to shut it down for the day, but we're going to keep our eye on both of these, because this is especially this one in Cuba. And the reason why I'm going to look more into this one is because they're not really talking about this.
Nope.
Now, you heard like a quick little something here and there about it, but they're not going into no detail as to what's really going on there, because that's about to become a real humanitarian problem. And then you're going to look at us again as to, okay, why, being the fact that they're 90 miles from you and you letting this happen to them. You know what I mean? it goes beyond decency. You know what I mean? Especially being the fact that we can go halfway around the world to fight in a war that we didn't have shit to do with, but you can't deal with this one over here that's 90 miles away from you, only because you trying to put the government in some kind of submission to where you can go in and take over. You know what I mean? So certain things you got to pick your battles, pick your poison. We're going to shut it down for today. Like I said, everybody, appreciate you for coming out. Like always, like, follow, share, subscribe. Those of you that's not on the Facebook page, go on the Dominant Effect podcast on Facebook. We also have a new website. Go on dominanteffectentertainment.com, or you can go on dominanteffectpodcast.com. If you go on the podcast.com, there's several things on there that you can go in, look at old shows, a lot of merchandise, a lot of stuff that accumulated. And if you come in as an actual subscriber, which is like with a $2.99 subscription, you can go in and it'll open it up to a whole lot of other stuff that's on there as well. So go on there and check that out. At the end, we also have a short little clip that we're going to show. There's a film that's going to start production here in the next couple of weeks that I'm going to be in, and it's coming out right in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's an actual Christmas movie. From the script, it seems like it's going to be a really good movie. You have CAG 3 Productions along with BMG Legendary Studios is doing it. Seems like it's going to be a great film. It's a great cast, and so they sent me a little something today to put it out for you guys to look at, and we'll play it at the end, at the closing, for you to check it out. And I think that's about it. I will see you guys in 7 days. Much love to you all. Go ahead, Mike.
All right. So, AB, you're going to have to click the video because I don't know which one it is when you do the ending here. But,
I got you.
But listen, much love, honor, respect to everybody. I can't thank each and every single one of you, whether you're on AB's side or my side. Listen, make sure you guys support both channels, whether you're from my side or his side. Go back and forth on each other and hit the like button on both channels, man. It goes a long way. If you're on the vertical side, double tap that screen, man. And this is what we do, obviously every single Wednesday, man. So listen, I can't thank every single one of you guys enough. We'll see you guys here in 7 days. Much love, honor, respect to everybody.
I've been quiet.
Hey, what's up, people in TV land? Listen, my name is Keith Williams. For those who don't know me, I'm one of the founding members of CAG 3 Studios. And guess what? Right now, we're getting ready to gear up to shoot a Christmas movie, one that you don't want to miss, called Christmas at Home with Mama. Stay tuned for more details. Production is getting ready to start soon. If y'all want to really see something that has all the elements to making a good Christmas movie, this is one you're going to want to see. Oh, and by the way, let me make a correction, because I will get crucified. It's not Christmas at Home with Mama. It's at home for Christmas with Mama. And wait, one more thing. Y'all see that cast right there? We finna do the damn thing. He's out. Don't know if I'm ready, but I want you. I've been out for too long.